you are. Very grand and glorious day, everyone. Grand and glorious day to you today on this amazing day where life is occurring. There you are. Thanks for coming by the kitchen again. I did clean up a little bit. It's kind of been a very, very busy week. We had company and we're having more company next week. And I was cooking. And I just am doing a series of the fermenting of fruits and veggies, actually. And I wanted to show you my cabbage. I'm going to do some fermented cabbage real quick, super easy. First, let me show you what I put together this morning. You know, when I was a kid, my mom used to eat lemons. She would do them with, actually horrible. She would sprinkle lemons with saccharin and then freeze them. That was the pink stuff back then. This is 40 years ago. So what I did today, I have a whole bunch of lemons and limes. I squeezed the juice, drank that this morning, and then I'm putting the peels in the salt and basil. So I've got basil in there, and we'll see how that turns out. It's a little bit, hopefully there's no air in there. That's what you want to do, is get rid of the air. But I've got it lemons and limes, just the squeezed skin. And what I'm going to do when everybody comes for Thanksgiving is I will be able to slice this up and add it to soups or salads or make a dressing. This was really a huge success last week. This is my tomato, cucumber, garlic salad. And that I made this last week, and I put a lemon on the top of that to kind of keep the veg down below the water. I'm still kind of playing with these recipes, but this was phenomenal last week. I could not believe how crisp the vegetables were, because I kind of used, I had an old tired cucumber. I had kind of a tired tomato. I put them in the salt brine with the garlic for about 7 days, and man, it was crisp. It was delicious. Everybody enjoyed that. So we'll see how those go, and just put them on the shelf, shake them a little bit every few days, and hopefully they're fermenting beautifully. So let me get my apron and wash my hands. Thanks for coming along today. You know, these are amazing times in which we're living. We're no longer perceiving the old Chinese curse of may live in interesting times. We're moving to amazing times. And I believe that part of this shift to amazing times is the return to the ancient wisdom, the old wisdom, as opposed to all of this technology that wants to rob us of our consciousness, rob us of our connections to others, keep us disgruntled, keep us diseased, lack of ease, keep us anxious. We've really been duped. And part of this series is talking about some of those things, as well as nourishing body, mind, and soul, so that we are creating a healthy, happy home and hearth. One of my favorite tools that I use is the Encyclopedia of Cookery. I think this book was written in 1947. And it was my husband's great aunt's 1949, she got this, September 1949. And I use this all the time. This is what I go to first when I'm trying to nourish myself and my family. Guess I could turn the dishwasher off. And it's a great book. And I was talking to someone today about how part of what has happened to our health is that, you know, we no longer honor the animals that we may eat. And part of the honoring of the animal in the past was using the whole animal. And that included the bones, the organ meat, what is called offal, right? And, I've always thought that tastes awful. Never been a big fan. But I do use raw glandular supplementation. So, part of what the raw glandulars do is it's like feeds like. So, healthy liver, usually the glandulars that I'm using are from Argentinian cows. Liver treats liver, kidneys treat kidneys, heart treats heart, thyroid treats thyroid, pancreas treats the pancreas. So when you take these in, gallbladder treats gallbladder. When you take these supplements in, I use standard process or food research. Sorry, this I thought this was standard process. Anyhow, when you take this in, my gallbladder is challenged. Gallbladder helps my liver, helps the detoxification property. When you take these things in, you're actually directly feeding the organ or the gland, and that's what we've forgotten. And then, of course, the bone broth. I can't tell you how often do we talk about bone broth, the benefits of bone broth, and that the collagen in the bones smooths the intestinal lining. So if you have any kind of colitis issues, which is just inflammation of the colon, that's all that is. Of course, they're going to put that Band-Aid, that label on many different unknown maladies that they can prescribe for us then. But the importance of the bone broth, the collagen, the minerals, we don't get the minerals anymore. And the importance of putting those back into our diet using many of the things, the old teachings, the old wives' tales from 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. The information was pretty much the same. Technology, we don't need technology to eat real healthy food, do we? And we need this technology for you and I to communicate on this level, or for me to have my diatribe here, because this is really not communication. This is a teaching. Commenting is not conversation. Conversation is between two people, and I like to say face to face. So I'm going to look at you today and just wish you an amazing day. Deeply connect to the people, the real live people in the room. Breathe into that still, quiet space within as we raise our frequency and raise the frequency of the planet here and now. That's really what we're here for. Really what we're here for. Amen to that. So, what's on tap today? Well, I showed you what I did earlier. Super fast and easy. I was making Jeff's lunch. And so I just took those ingredients and I made him a little salad for today, a little cucumber, tomato, garlic salad. And the rest I put into that jar, heavy on the salt. Fill it with water. I used fresh basil. I used herbes de Provence. And I have this head of cabbage. And I'm going to take half of this. This one doesn't have much of a core, as it's a little cabbage. And I'm going to see how much I get out of this. I think I'm going to use, I was thinking I'd put some of this cabbage in my soup. I'm making kind of break in training this week. I've been off grains for almost a year now. And it was interesting. I did go out to lunch the other day, and I got the black bean burger, and it had some inorganic corn, and I could feel it in my tummy. And that was Tuesday. This is Friday, and I'm still having a little stomach issue. So often we discount our sensitivities. Like, I always liken it to when, I did not have children. I've been studying alternative modalities of keeping our health for more than 30 years now. And one of the things that was most disturbing to me was when people would try to feed their children cow's milk, treated cow's milk, not the raw kind that has all of the enzymes added to it, but the, homogenized is that the process homogenization. So the homogenization takes away all of the live enzymes that help us digest dairy. And, maybe you remember when you tried to put your kid on milk, and the first time he did it, he might have thrown up. I remember seeing a kid drinking milk, and it just came right back out of his nose. And maybe he cried that night, didn't get really good sleep. Maybe he was pulling on his ears. These are all allergic reactions that our children can't tell us about. And the treated milk is one of the biggest offenders. And then, dairy then becomes the problem. And, I didn't do a lot of dairy for a long, long time. You know that now I eat high fat, low carb, moderate protein, and I do eat organic dairy. And I don't seem to have too much of trouble with that. But when I went out to lunch the other day, who knows what was in maybe they used trans fats in something. Maybe it was the corn in my black bean burrito. Maybe it was the fact that I've barely eaten any grains in a year. But I'm making a big pot of, I'm going to save the rest of this cabbage for my soup that I'm making for a sick friend. Let's just pray for all who may be perceiving suffering today in whatever way. And let's just ask that our food nourishes in all ways, and that that I'm creating, that it be a blessing as it is intended. But I am using a bit of lentils today, and I've been soaking my lentils all morning, and they're starting to get a little frothy. And I'm going to rinse and drain these before I put them into the Instapot. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, to having maybe a little lentil today. We'll see how the system does with that. Clean jar. Oh, little dog is barking. Hang on. I'm back. The dogs are very happy today because I was cleaning out the freezer, and they got the last of the elk bone, because next week is elk season, and we hope to have a new fresh elk. So here's my empty jar. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of the Celtic sea salt in the bottom of the jar. And then I'm going to pack the jar as tightly as possible with the cabbage. And about halfway through, I'm going to add about another tablespoon of Celtic sea salt. I don't know if I'm looking at myself or you, so I apologize if I'm not looking directly into your eyes and letting you know how grateful I am that you're here with me. And, that's a perfect amount. Ooh, we're going to have this the week of Thanksgiving. And if we have some goose, I'm going to corn some goose to go with this cabbage as well. Okay. So this is all dry. Let me use the bottom of my spoon. Well, actually, I use the top of this one to just kind of push out any air. Push, push, push. See how much space I'm creating. Push, push. I'm going to put a little bit of cayenne pepper and caraway. I love caraway. So here's my caraway. So I'm going to put a good healthy dose of caraway in there, because I do love caraway. Caraway is great for our liver. Mash that down. I could put more on the top, but I don't think I'm going to. And now I'm going to just fill it with water. Beautiful day today. Too bad the chemtrails came in. It was clear all morning. I'm kind of headachy because of the chemtrails. We were out. And it's really, really disappointing. All right, so that is going all the way down. I'm going to have to put more water into it. Smooth it around. Yay, the last lid. I love these. I think this was a pickle container or maybe what this one was, but these jars are awesome. Okay, that still is not quite covered. Push out all the air. We want this to be an anaerobic system. We've got about an inch at the top. Tighten that. Put that on the shelf. And we're going to eat that in about 10 days or so. And what's going to happen? I'm going to add a little more water. Do you want it to be covered with water? And what's going to happen is it's going to get good and bubbly. And that's the fermentation. It's so important that we get good fermentation in our body. And you can do this with any veg. I said I did do it with the lemon. Now, I could put another lemon on the top here. I will do that. And the lemon is kind of a sacrifice. It'll add some nice flavor, but mostly it's going to kind of hold down the fermented veg. All right. We'll see how that goes in about 10 days. Right on the shelf next to the others. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So remember to nourish yourself and remember to bring prayer back into your preparation of life, food, of fun and family, because everything is an energy, everything is a frequency, everything is every prayer of breath, and every breath of prayer. And when we pray over our food, it raises the vibration of it so that we offer our profound gratitude for what we are about to receive and to send out love and light to all our fellow travelers, especially those who may be suffering today. And just ask to be healed, whole, healthy, happy in your heart, in your home. And it starts in the hearth, which is the kitchen. And remember to take about 90 seconds 3 times a day to be still and silent and just ask for guidance and so